Here's what your favorite vehicle in GT Online says about you. In this video I'm covering 20 of them, and if this goes well and you guys enjoy it, we might do a part 2 soon. So if your favorite isn't here, drop it in the comments and it might show up next time. Let's get right into it. You probably saw a YouTube video of some insanely skilled player flying the Scramjet and thought, yeah, I can do that. You either gave up after 5 minutes or you actually learned how to control it, and now you smoke almost everyone in public lobbies. Or maybe you just like it because jumping around and boosting everywhere is pure fun. You hate water more than anything, and the moment you realize you're about to fall into it, you switch sessions before you even hit the surface. You can be two completely different types of players with the Oppressor MK2. You either have no life and spend 24/7 grinding every single mission in the game, sitting at $1 billion, or you have no self-respect and you're just a griefer. There's also that one type of Oppressor player who has a whole garage full of them and does nothing in public lobbies except sweat on people non-stop. Honestly, I respect those guys a bit more. Flying that thing upside down in PvP does not look easy. Or maybe I'm just slow and bad. Who knows? You love the Cayoprico heist, you do it back to back every single day until you eventually burn out and stop playing the game. Or maybe you just love how easy it is to call through the interaction menu and how close it spawns every single time. Plus you never have to call Mirror's Mutual when it gets destroyed. That's a win right there. You also enjoy flying the fastest helicopter in the game and probably love spamming missiles and flares like crazy. At least I love doing that. You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is cook Oppressor MK2s. You hate Oppressor players and your life goal is to wipe every single one off the map. You like the submarine mode, but let's be honest, you've never actually used it for anything useful. You think you're slick because you don't have a unique icon on the minimap and love catching tryhards off guard. Sometimes you also forget you're not driving a Vigilante and try to fly, only to realize you're overweight and the boost just isn't enough. Try harder. You hate how slow it is and the hover mode is just mid, but you love bragging about the homing missile accuracy. Just like with the Toreador, you cannot stand oppressors and usually take them out without breaking a sweat. You've probably watched a few YouTube tutorials on dodging missiles and either you mastered it and became a monster or it seemed way too difficult. Still, every fight makes you nervous. One little touch on the Deluxo and it's gone. You probably even have nightmares about the railgun, but hey, I get it. When you first got it, you were probably disappointed it didn't have homing missiles, but later realized you needed the bunker research. So you started the research, which took months, and by the time you got the missiles, you kind of lost the drive to use it. If that's not you, then you realize how fun it can be, but how much work it takes to actually fly it without crashing into poles and buildings every 2 minutes. And of course, you love flexing that you're still rocking the Oppressor MK1 instead of the much hated Oppressor MK2. If the Akula is your favorite, you probably already think it's the best helicopter in the game. And that's mostly because of the stealth mode, even though its weapons are pretty mid. You love sneaking up on players in public lobbies and taking them out instantly when you pop out of stealth. Or maybe you just love it for the sense of security it gives, whether you're crossing the map or escaping a tight situation. You just wish it had better armor. Either way, I respect you. Personally, I'm terrible with this thing and I can never use it effectively. If the Hunter is your favorite, you already know it's a beast. You know it has the best offensive power of all helicopters, and paired with a friend, it's basically unstoppable. From armor to performance, this thing handles everything like a champ. At first you were probably hesitating to buy it because of the price, unsure if it would be worth it, but once you got it, there was no looking back. Not trying to glaze it here, but it's just a very good attack chopper. There isn't really like a downside to this. Like the Akula, you love catching people off guard and taking them out in seconds after leaving stealth mode. But the Raiju is way more no skill than the Akula. It's simply the fastest vehicle in the game and it can even outrun homing missiles. Plus, with VTOL mode, it's almost like a helicopter and a jet rolled into one. You probably don't have a ton of skill with it, and I emphasize probably, and dogfights aren't your thing because Starling scare you. And of course, it hurt your wallet when you bought it. I still remember dropping almost $7 million on a jet. A jet. If the Starling is your favorite, you do absolutely nothing in a public session except dogfighting. You've spent the last few years living in public lobbies, and you're probably a level 8000 with a full tryhard skin. No matter who the enemy is, a few miniguns and you completely melt them. You absolutely hate oppressors because they're nearly impossible to hit even if you're insanely skilled, and you think they should be removed from the game. Understandable. You put it in everything you love that the B11 is the best jet in the game, and I can respect that, it's really good. You also love the sound of the machine guns and how tough it is. You hate flying low with the B11 because of how slow it is, so you usually fly pretty high if you're crossing the map. The difference is just ridiculous. There's really not much else to say about the B11, I mean, you're a cool guy, I guess. Now, if your favorite vehicle is the Khanjali, you probably love war games and wish GTA weren't so unbalanced with such futuristic vehicles and that public lobby wars were more classic and realistic. I think I'm kinda that type of guy. When you first got it, you realized you'd need a facility to actually own it. This bad boy was not easy to get. However, you soon realize how weak any tank is compared to most vehicles nowadays, so you end up using it less and less over time. Also, you probably laugh and make fun of when you see a random tank. I mean, I do that too. You've also probably spent a ton of money on weapons until you realize how almost useless the others are besides the main cannon. You absolutely love a vehicle that basically does everything for you. You don't even need a good bullet protection because with the missiles it has, you kill everything and everyone before they even get close. Now, this is against NPCs. No one uses it in public lobbies because it can't survive any explosions. You probably also spend half your time just flying with it thanks to how strong the boost is. I remember when I bought it, I spent hours just doing that. And of course boosting against cars and vehicles in general to make them fly. That's pretty fun too. Just like the Khanjali, you love more realistic vehicles and a more classic PvP style. You love the default weapon, but as soon as you discover the missile battery, that thing is so much fun and strong. Unfortunately, it's not infinite, but I guess that would have been a bit OP. However, you don't really like having to switch seats to use it, and its armor could be better. You probably didn't even know it was amphibious when you bought it, and only found out when you accidentally drove it into the water. Underrated pick right here, but I get why. First of all, the upgraded weapon is really strong and has a range I've never seen on any other vehicle. I honestly think it might have the longest range in the game. On top of that, it has a bulletproof windshield even after you've destroyed the window. Sensational work by Rockstar Games as always. And it has a pretty good armor. You've got a pretty unique taste and I think it's a pretty solid choice. Not sure if it really fits here, but at the end of the day, it's still a vehicle. You love El Rubio and Pavel is your favorite character in the whole game. You're a total Lester hater, and your second favorite vehicle is definitely the Sparrow. And you probably love those guided missiles it has. I think it's pretty fun. You don't really want to try other cars because you think being the fastest automatically makes it the best. Hey, don't get me wrong, it is very good, but in my opinion there are better ones out there even if they're not as fast. And it's probably the only normal car you own in the game, besides weaponized and armored vehicles. Or maybe you just really like the car in real life and how it looks, so everything I said just doesn't even matter. You realize just how much better this car is than all the other HSW vehicles, which is why it's your go-to for pretty much everything. You're not really a fan of players driving Banshee GTSs, and you know you can cook them in a city race with ease. Unlike the Banshee or the Niobe, you're not a fan of crashing into traffic and want to be more agile, so you go for a bike instead. You love doing time trials every single week and usually finish with like 20 seconds left on the clock. You just get mad when your bike simply refuses to turn. You hate that you had to spend that much money on a car, but it was totally worth it. You love how fast it is and how strong and cool the minigun on top looks, you just wish it had better aiming angles. And finding out that it had bullet resistant windows and already come with the missile lock-on jammer was pretty cool too. It's just a shame that it can't handle explosions. You'd absolutely love to use it in public lobbies. And that's it for this video. I hope I didn't piss anyone off and I was accurate with my thoughts about each of the vehicles and players. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.